did a school PTO where they brought in a bunch of kids, and I got to stand on stage and say, "Do you know the real reason for Christmas?" Some have never heard it. They call me a legacy Santa, I guess you would say, because my brother was a Santa. David and I were born to a poor family. Actually, we were half brothers. We grew up together as close as two brothers can be. Matter of fact, a lot of people would say our relationship was kinship to twins. And he was a hard worker, started working when he was 10 years old, cutting grass. And it was just me, him, and my mom for years. I started a business in 1988. He was working with our airlines, and I got him to come into business with me because he was a very good talker. He was a wonderful storyteller. But he had two daughters, and one had twins in 2007, and they were 4 ounces and 2 pounds. We did not know if they were going to make it, but it was late in the year, and we'd always been able to grow beards in the particular company we ran. They didn't mind beards or how we dressed, so he threw on a Santa hat to visit his twin granddaughters, and they made it. And it was one of the happiest times I've ever seen him, but people at the hospital had started calling him Santa. So he looked into becoming a professional Santa. He enjoyed it. He went to a school, the C.W. Howard Santa School in Midland, Michigan, and became a professional Santa. He was able to do this for 3 years, and unfortunately in 2010, he passed away. I inherited Santa suits, but that was his thing. I wasn't going to do it. The conflict I have with my faith and Santa Claus, of course, is the mythical. It's conflictive in my mind because how do you answer it? We serve an almighty, powerful God. He is the source of everything that we experience here on earth. And for me, as Santa Claus to these children, how can I tell them about Jesus and not spoil the Santa for them, but yet make sure that they understand God is the reason for the season, that Jesus is the greatest gift from Bethlehem over 2,000 years ago. Before I decided to become Santa, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in April of 2011. I went to the University of Florida Health and Proton Therapy Institute, and I call it my radiation vacation, because down there I walked in and I saw these kids, little bald-headed boys and girls playing in the lobby. You have a little girl sitting on your lap, and she's looking in your eyes, bald-headed, and she sees the North Pole looking at me. And I mean, it was an overwhelming, just, this is serious. That's when I decided to take his suits and start raising money for those kids. And it's the most humbling thing I've ever done. How do I process it as far as what the Lord does for me when these children pass or it doesn't turn out like you want it to? I don't know them personally. I don't really grieve for the child because I know they're in the arms of Jesus. I grieve for the parents because I have children. I recently lost one, so I know their pain. Everybody says, you know, I can't wait to get to heaven to ask God this, ask God that. You know, there's some things that I really truly believe that we're not going to never know. We're not God. He's a sovereign, loving, just God. And who am I to presume that He's got to answer to me? He doesn't. I don't. All I can do is trust what He said is in the Word and what He does in our lives. These appearances where I charge a certain amount for my appearance, they've become fundraisers. I wanted to make sure that 100% of what everybody gives goes to the charity, because it's just important to me, and it's important to honor my brother's legacy. His name was David, so we've called our charity the Santa David Children's Fund. We've gone from, the first year was $5,500, the next year was $10,400. I can remember these figures because I'm better at figures than I am names. And so the next year was 17.8, and then the next year 24, then 28, then 32, and now we're up to close to, this year hopefully we'll get around 90,000. You never know what somebody's going through. You can look in their eyes, you can sit here and we can have this conversation. You don't know what I'm going through, and I don't know what you're going through. But somebody does. Turn to the Lord. Just ask Jesus to come in your heart. Ask the Almighty God to look down on you and have mercy. Just give it all to Him. When a child comes up to you and they, can you heal my mom? Or, I want my family to be whole. I want to be with my parents. I want to be my brothers and sisters again. I want to see them. Because you come in with split families. And so I say, I'm just a toy maker. I try to bring joy and good cheer to children. But I know Jesus. And I'll pray. And sometimes in small settings, I get to pray with them there. And when I ask them, do you know the real reason for the season? The real reason for Christmas? It's to get presents. Well, I make sure, when I have a kid ask me that, I make sure that they know it's not to get presents, that that's not the real meaning of Christmas. So it's very difficult in a secular world, in a secular situation, but I try to incorporate it as much as I possibly can. He's over everything.